Hello friends, this is Cauldron. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. We are here in Bestway's Burrow, about to continue with the main story quest with Growingway. All's veiled at Endsvale. Growingway is keen to put his recent mishap behind him. This is where he accidentally warped me up to the top, where I could spy on, like where he was trying to send me to the residential district, but he accidentally sent me somewhere else. Up here, where I could spy on and eavesdrop on Urianger getting told to talk to the Sharlayans. It may not seem like it, but we've been planning for this far longer than I'd care to admit. I mean, you've told us that this is like your 1000th run or something, right? Or the leading way did, or whatever their name. No, was that you? God, I even forget, like... No, that was the leader, whoever the leader was. Each time we woke up, we'd have a long discussion about how to save as many as we can. Felt like everyone had an opinion on this or that. Yeah, so this confirms kind of what I was afraid of and what I assumed, that there wasn't going to be a single, like, we're going to push this button and warp everyone on the planet who has, a pulse up to the ship. Like, it's more like we're going to try to get as many as we can, and I can't imagine it being more than, like, a city's worth. It's possible even. I don't know if they're going to be this small, if it's going to be this small, but it's possible even that Sharlayan's just going to be like, no, we're going to be the ones who survive and will be the seeds of the next civilization. Rather than trying to get, like, everyone or a diverse representation of everyone, or let alone, like, as many people as they possibly can. But the one thing we all agreed upon was that the people of Aetheris wouldn't take action to save themselves until it was far too late. Yeah, that's how it normally works with humans, and with probably everyone else who's sort of human-like. That's why we're striving to make the moon a vibrant, magical place they'd hop at the chance to visit, rather than waiting for the flames of oblivion to get them off their tails and force them to accept our invitation. I mean... The only question for me is how overtly politically is this intended? I mean, because boy, does this feel like they could be talking about climate change right now, as much as... I mean, any number of things throughout history, but right now climate change is the thing that jumps to mind right at the moment. The residential quarters may not be up to the necessary standards just yet, but there are plenty of other places worth seeing. And just to be clear, this is a good thing. I don't see this as a knock on the game. I see this as awesome that this parallel is it's so direct. You already had a look around the Caretakers, but waited till you see what's waiting for you at the east end of the burrow. Follow me. Lead on, Growingway. Good, you're here. Through this door is greatest Endsvale. It was named as such because it's the Vale to end all Vales, the most beautiful forest you'll ever see. Didn't it look exactly like the Caretakers? We understand the people of Aetheris enjoy taking leisurely walks through natural spaces and the like, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it. How about we start with a nice stroll to the fountain? This way. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you're including some public space here. I guess this is all public space, but some parkland, I guess I should say. So maybe I might have been mistaken, but no, I mean, this certainly has the feel of... No, there's no way around it. This looks just like a... No, I guess I see what they're going for. It actually kind of reminds me of Dawn Meg more than anything else, and that's a good thing. Learning way. Oh, what a pleasure it is to actually meet you. I've read so much about you. Really? Because I'm the Warrior of Light? Maybe just because I'm one of the people they're trying to save. Ooh, we got a fate up here, which is from a Loporrit named Warringway. Yeah, I'd definitely be happy to spend time here. It wouldn't scratch the same itch as going to a park, but still, quite beautiful. Warringway. Oh dear, a swarm of dynamite. That's not a phrase I usually see. A swarm of dynamite has drifted inside the burrow. You must help us get rid of them before they blow this place to smithereens. Oh shit, yeah. Help diffuse the situation. Well played. Warringway warns of approaching danger. A pack of drifting dynamite has infiltrated the haven. He asks for your help in diffusing the situation before this bomb. That was intentional for the game. Like, they meant to make it tough. Before those bombs blow the burrow to bits. Got it. Your efforts have restored some small measure of stability to Mare Lamentorum. Oh, we must have opened up the map. We did it. They were no match for us. Oh, but what about you? Yeah, they were no match for me either. But you did most of the work, to be honest. Alright, so pretty soon we'll be able to... You know what? Screw that. Let's just go to the Gemstone Trainer and get this now. I have lied to you. I have hornswoggled, bamboozled, and betrayed you, because before I check there was a fate that had only 10 minutes left I wanted to check out. Taking care of the Caretakers. Whoever designed the mechanical Caretakers was not terribly cautious, and their carelessness in turn spawned a slew of defective models that must be scrapped. Oh, that's unfortunate. And this is the second... We've had a number of issues with the defective... with the mechs so far. There was the one that was trying to eat carrots because it developed an affinity to them. There was the scrapping the scrapers back in the east. Yeah, and now this. Quick question. Right now, so I just completed the Bosom Buddies weekly challenge to get a certain amount of experience with your companion out. And my companion is at 20. I think that's max. I think I have all the skills. And so, actually, two questions. One, is there any other way I should be non-cosmetically working to upgrade my Chocobo that's available to me? And two, what kind of stance do you generally put it in? Like, what kind of stance... Because I keep it in just free stance, so I don't have to think about it, but if I'm playing... I don't know, are there ever any circumstances where you're soloing and you switch to a healer or tank? Like, I could definitely see cases if I'm in a group setting where I'd switch to a healer, but I don't know. Even then it feels weird. It feels like I'm... I don't know. Even then, is it the right case to switch it to a non-DPS stance, to a non-free stance? So just finished up the Fate, and I saw a sightseeing point nearby. Let's take a look at this. Greatest Endsvale. The architect of this district envisioned an ideal forest, a place where the new residents of the moon could sit or wander amidst arboreal splendor. The fact that it resembles a forest in only the most abstract sense of the word detracts somewhat from the intended effect. Well, it's the thought that counts. I agree, and the thought actually does have an impact. Like, it's not a forest, but it certainly hits some of the same notes. And it's beautiful in kind of an alien forest way, like a... I don't know. Again, it's not the same, but I get what they were going for, and I think it does at least something similar in terms of, like, the fountains there, the kind of greens, and I really like this place. I really like it. Growing Way. So, what did you think of the forest? Isn't it positively pleasant, simply sublime? I mean, I have to be honest with you, because I don't want you to be shocked when everyone realizes that, when everyone comes here and sees that it's not a forest, but still, I like it. I couldn't see the forest or the trees. I didn't see any... Wait, you don't mean those crystals there are. 'Tis as transcendent as burying your face in a chocobo's plumage and taking a good long whiff. I think it is, but I think you have to... be a bit more honest here. Right you are. Our forest is made of crystals and constructs, dotting the landscape as far as the eye can see. Yeah, but that's not... Okay. Building this place was a challenge, let me tell you. Since we were born here, we've never seen trees in person before, let alone a forest. I think this is actually something where... I don't think we're actually going to get to the point where the world is destroyed and we're traveling on. Like, I don't... The game is bold. I don't think it's going to be that bold. And I don't even think that's a bad thing. I think it's unlikely the game will do that. But I think if we did get to that point, the Charleans could help you out a lot on this. With all the seeds they're collecting and all that. The information sent by our collaborators was quite enlightening, but after much deliberation, we decided to use crystalline constructs in place of living trees. And thanks to our atmospheric circulation system, this place produces air as clean as you'd find in a forest on Etheirys. Oh, good. Then it might even feel like a forest in that, because a forest, part of what makes a forest feel good is that it feels like fresh. And so this might have a similar fresh feel if you were actually there. The fountain you hear behind us, powered by the rather large crystal adorning its top, plays a vital role in supplying us with fresh water. Much time and effort was spent making it the most spherical of spheres, and I dare say the unparalleled roundness speaks for itself. Yeah, no, that's pretty round. Nice job. I enjoy nothing more than a nice long stretch and a spot of relaxation whenever I come up here. You look like you could do with a stretch yourself. Oh, whoops. Feeling tense, Kakushu? Why not stretch and relax? Okay, I'll stretch. You stretch next to Growing Way. That's the spirit. I feel more relaxed simply watching you. Okay. A sight worth the many years spent building the place. Yeah, you should be proud. This place is fucking awesome. If it's not too much to ask, it's always been a dream of mine to take a walk through this forest with someone from Etheirys. Could we, maybe? Yeah. Walking through a park and a forest is one of my favorite dates. So, sure, absolutely. With you, Growing Way, I will do that. You will? Oh, be still, my quivering whiskers. Oh my god. Everything about them is great, and still is great. Growing Way is now accompanying you. Okay. Alright, so where are we heading? Understood. We're taking a stroll through the park. Can I talk to you along the way? Ah, nothing like a relaxing stroll to forget one's worries, eh? No, there really is nothing like a relaxing stroll to forget one's worries. I agree with that. I try to walk every day. Even though it's, you know, often around 0 degrees Fahrenheit these days, where I am. Growing Way. I was thinking, Kakushu, that I could be more helpful to you by teaching you a little about the moon and what it is we do. When we were first created, the moon's sole purpose was to hold Zodiark, and there was absolutely nothing to be found here. Eventually, Hydaelyn gave us our first task: furnish the moon with propulsion systems capable of facilitating travel to other stars. That is quite a first task. It sounds impressive, and I suppose in some respects it is, but it was only possible thanks to all the knowledge Hydaelyn shared with us. We also had a lot of time to get it done. 6,000 years, give or take. Oh, shit, okay. Is that how long it's been since, like, the first Astral Era? But anyway, let's keep going. I guess I don't know what the time gap was between the split of Etheirys and them waking up. This may come as a surprise, but we didn't begin building the habitable areas until after the propulsion systems were ready. It comes as a little bit of a surprise, but I guess not much, because you'd have to assume that when you were created there were no habitable areas, therefore you didn't need them. But even so, I hope you... I don't know where you lived at before that. Considering how long it took, I wish we'd started sooner. Who would have thought we'd need 4,000 years to make all this? It certainly wasn't work you dare rush either. We had to create infrastructure and countless supporting systems, some of which wouldn't be operational until hundreds of years later. And then there was that brief period where our productivity came to a screeching halt when that bizarre red satellite was sent up from Etheirys, the Allagan's Mischief, I think. So that's got to be... I mean, they mentioned a red satellite... So they mentioned two things. They mentioned an Allagan vessel crashing into the moon, and now they're mentioning a red satellite sent up from Etheirys. Which I'm guessing, I mean, that must be, that sounds like Dalamud, but that must be separate from the vessel that crashed into the moon. We thought maybe some new nefarious actor was colluding with Zodiark. All we could do was stand by and brace ourselves for the worst. I can't... Was that you humming in happiness? I think it was. I can't tell you how relieved we were when Hydaelyn informed us of its destruction. Oh yes, there was much joyous humming that day. I love that humming. Sorry I'm sounding like I feel like I'm getting a bit repetitive about this, but just they are so great. These creatures are so great, and they have their sweetness, their cuteness is mitigated in a similar way that the Moogle's cuteness is mitigated. In that actually, come to think of it, in the Namazu too, where they can be kind of assholes and they can be kind of condescending. The Namazu are sleazier, but these remind me more of Moogles in that they're more like mischievous or unintentional. No, these are actually less mischievous. It's more unintentional condescension than the Moogles. Come back, pigeon. Okay. Say, do you notice anything peculiar about the treetops? I mean, apart from the fact that they're massive crystals and not trees. At least you know that, like, that's the issue. Anything peculiar about the treetops? I noticed that some have halos on them and some do not. I'll give you a hint. It's the golden rings emanating from the glowing spheres. Yes, yeah, so, like, I see a couple that don't, like those two, like this one doesn't, and that one doesn't, and that one doesn't, but a lot of them do. Along with the device fixed near the ceiling, they fulfill a role similar to our sun, and do so better even. Oh, this is like the, I wonder if you came up with this idea yourself, or if this came from the Sharlayans, because we know that the Sharlayans in Labyrinthos have something similar. The sun and similar celestial bodies in the great expanse radiate energy that is harmful to your bodies. These rings shield you from the energy while allowing you to bathe in the perfect amount of sunlight, or rather a close approximation of it. You are taking a lot into consideration. Y'all are pretty great. Pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? Oh, and if you look closely, you'll see different types of trees have ever so slightly different curvature. Yes, indeed, this forest truly is the greatest of the greatest. Do they? I trust you, but I don't see differences just yet. Alright, so the next little stop on our way. This is a great way to do a quest, by the way. I really am enjoying the way that they're some of the new stuff they're incorporating in Endwalker is kind of a miss for me, like the instant loss stealth missions, but I really enjoy how they're incorporating these, like, people walking alongside you. There was something else I wanted to tell you about. Oh, right. The propulsion systems and habitat facilities were completed around 2,000 years ago, and with that, the most important features were fit for purpose. Which was all well and good, except we still knew absolutely nothing about the present-day people of Aetheris. Yeah, so who made contact? Was that you, or did the Sharlayans make contact? It must have been you. Why not go and visit Aetheris for yourself, you might ask? Strictly forbidden. Were our technology or knowledge of the moon's true purpose exploited for evil ends, the results could be disastrous. I mean, that might be the problem, is that you, like, the Ascians were able to travel freely to the moon. We saw at least some of the Ascians. I don't know if, like, the grunt or the rank and file Ascians could, but the Unsundered at least absolutely could. And anyone on the council could, or what was it called, the convocation? Anyone on the Ascian convocation, the named Ascians, the titled Ascians, they could travel here. And they could then take, I'm sure they saw you and knew what was going on here, and they could take that knowledge back to Aetheris. There were a few more rejoinings, and it became increasingly difficult to converse with Hydaelyn, right, because so much of her energy was taken up restraining the more powerful Zodiarch. Fearful we might lose the ability to communicate with her altogether, we beseeched her to find people on Aetheris we could trust to help. We were quite fortunate everything worked out as it did. So she must have been the go-between between you and the Sharlayans. Okay. All making sense. With the exception of routine inspections and maintenance, we remained asleep and waited, hopeful Hydaelyn would find someone who would help us. Eventually she did, and though her power was waning, We were able to speak to them directly for a short while. His name was Elidibus. I hope you're not tricked like that. We shared with them everything we could, including our knowledge of the heavens and a means to travel here to the moon. They certainly didn't waste any time with what we taught them. That's the other, a means to travel to the moon. Because I was thinking back when Garlemald was, back when we were in Garlemald and we were trying to figure out the purpose of the tower, are they trying to travel to the moon with a spaceship? And we know the spaceship is on the icon, like on the logo of Endwalker. And the big whale, even though the big whale itself was, I think it was like a collector's edition purchase or something. The big whale from Final Fantasy IV is not, it's different. Like that was like an ancient prophecy, ancient legend sort of thing. This, I wouldn't be surprised, and it just looks totally different from the ship on the logo. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the ship then, because I wasn't even thinking about a means of conveyance. I guess they're trying to build a spaceship down in Charlie, and maybe that's the project in the secret, like, lower levels of Labyrinthos. Anyway, no more than a few years after that, our collaborators found a means to convey messages and supplies to us down from below. With all the letters, books, and other resources they sent, we learned enough to start making more meaningful changes to the moon. And now you're here, hopefully enjoying yourself as much as I am. Aw, you're sweet. I knew you would like Greatest Endsvale, I knew it. Thank you again for coming here, by the way. I know it was just a walk through the forest, but it meant a lot to me. Yeah, you got to meet one of the people you've been working for thousands of years. Stola. There you are. Thancred. I take it you've already received the grand tour? Shame we missed it. Yeah, you would have enjoyed it. Growing Way, I've been looking all over for you. This, I'm sure, is the what's her name? The brown bunny. Yeah. I forgot her name already. Oh, is this about the Growing Way? Is this about the teleporter to the residential area? Living Way, that was her name. No, never mind. We have more pressing matters at hand. I will be calling an emergency meeting shortly, and your attendance is required. Growing Way. Really? I can't imagine why you'd need me there, but if you insist. Living Way. We won't be away long, so you all are more than welcome to continue looking about the burrow. Now, come along, Growing Way. Secret mission. Well, I mean, there's so much like little tinkering that has to be done, and so much work that has to be done that I'm not reading anything into this. Like, it could just be like we have to have a meeting about attuning the temperature to their height, or I'm making shit up. I don't know, something like that. Stola. Before we arrived, you seemed to be in the midst of a rousing conversation with your guide. Did you learn anything of import? I quite did. They've spent 12,000 years preparing this. 12,000. Why did I think 6,000? Maybe it was 6,000 since they... Wait, why did I think 6,000? I thought they said 6,000. I'm sure it was 6,000 about something more specific than just how long they've been preparing. Maybe it was 6,000 since they started. Maybe they spent 6,000 years just chilling, and then 6,000 years doing, like, starting on the propulsion after that. With the appointed hour fast approaching, I can certainly understand their restlessness, but still. Stola. It remains to be seen if the people can be persuaded to evacuate when there are yet no signs of the final days. What's more, the technology of this place defies imagination. I doubt there are many who would readily come to terms with living in such surroundings. Yeah. I mean, you could get a bit deceptive. You could pull an Elidibus and just, like, find a way to create illusions of the final days before they actually hit. But that seems a little bit, I don't know. I mean, I think you can stomach a lot of deception in the name of saving people from apocalypse. Thancred. Whoever these collaborators are, unless they are possessed of the world's most charming personalities, and they are not, or a means to forcibly evacuate people, I don't think they have. They will meet with a great deal of resistance. Stola. Indeed. Even faced with annihilation, the decision to forsake all one knows cannot be made lightly. I'm gonna skip ahead if you don't want to hear me talk about, of all things, the Holocaust. But I'm Jewish and a lot of family that I heard about. No one, of course, no one. I'm relatively young, but I'm almost 40 years old. But I knew a lot. There was a lot of great grandparents and great uncles and that who I've heard stories about who all died there and were all killed there. And in Hebrew school, in Jewish literature, one of the constant discussions is, one of the constant questions by people who are new to it is, why didn't they leave earlier? Why didn't people who saw this writing on the wall, why didn't Jews in Poland and Hungary and Germany and Greece and everywhere see the writing on the wall and leave earlier? And I mean, there were some things that aren't applicable to this situation, like they tried to leave, and there were a lot who tried to leave and they were turned away from different places. There were a lot who didn't, I don't know, who just thought they'd be, that it was going to be worse somewhere else. But there were a lot there were some who knew the danger and just said, this is my home, fuck off. They probably would have made, they might have made a different decision if they knew how bad it was going to be. But, this is, it's really tough to leave your home even under the worst of the worst circumstances. Anyway. Urianger. Forgive me, friends, but I must beg your leave. There is another matter which yet begs for mine attention. Why don't you... I'm going to be... Here we go again. Thancred. Of course, we can accompany if you like. They better have a reason why they have to keep this secret, if Urianger is going to have to keep this secret. Urianger. Nay, that will not be necessary. If you will excuse me. Yeah, we've been down this road. We can smell something's up anyway. And my hope is that it's something that he physically can't control, that like any communication with them requires, like, just magically requires the communicator to be under that same spell that the Sharlayans are under, where once you are involved in this communication, like by Hydaelyn's decree, you're physically unable to talk about it to others. But even then, bring us into it. Like, the Loporrits were able to induct Urianger into it. They should be able to induct us into it too. Thancred. Huh. What do you suppose has suddenly tickled his fancy? Nothing great. Stola. It is clear that difficult decisions lie ahead of us. Preparation for the evacuation of Aetheris is indeed crucial, but I am not yet willing to forsake our world and its reflections, and I trust I am not alone in my reticence. You are not. But I am glad we're not just... Because there's some fiction that would say, like, screw it, we're not... I don't even want to hear about your backup options. Like, we're going to save the world no matter what. But no, we're actually, like, trying to help with the backup options too. Ishtola. Final days will make brave fools of us all. That is... I really like that. I really like that. I think you're probably correct. Thancred. Back to old tricks, yeah. Here we go again. By now, Thancred can tell when his friends are up to something. Thancred. Did Urianger seem strange to you? More so than usual, I mean. I know he has a penchant for keeping his own counsel, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. Would you go and see if he's all right? Stola and I will remain here and see what else we can learn about the final days. If you hurry, perhaps you can catch up to him. So what can I buy at my current rank, Trading Way? Trading Way. My stock's not looking quite so shabby anymore, so come take a gander. Things in Mare Lamentorum are still precarious, but with some support, I've managed to scrounge up materials to get materials enough to get some merchandise made. Okay, Mare Lamentorum writing map, this is the key. I think that's the only addition. But what an addition it is. Oh wait, oh shit, damn it, I meant to look at the description for that. Okay. Mare Lamentorum riding map. This highly detailed map of Mare Lamentorum, including everything from land elevation to the location of large rocks and craters, was originally drafted by the Loporrits to allow for easier travel. Yep, makes sense. Oh, let me take a look at this other stuff. Dynamite ash, all that remains after dynamite explodes. Yeah, dynamite, yeah, that's what we fought just before. Lunatender blossom, a lovely flower found blooming on a Lunatender's crown. So this is different from the mood flowers of Hydaelyn. Moose flesh, apparently edible? Yeah, apparently edible and something you can bathe in if you've got that sort of kink. Alright, destination. There he goes. Being a sussy dude. Urianger appears heading toward the entrance of Bestway's burrow. Is he going to talk to the puppy? Urianger ventures off into Mare Lamentorum for reasons unknown. Here we go again. You must tread carefully, else he might sense your presence. I'm actually curious what he'll do if he senses us. I'm sure I'll be able to find out shortly enough. I wonder if it's going to be like, oh, Kukushu, wouldst thou care to join me on my stroll about the moon? I'm going to go get some Skittles from the convenience store. Come along. Okay. I think this is... The goal of this for me is to jump from hiding point to hiding point. This feels like the first hiding point. We'll see if I can reach the second hiding point in time. Some of this is just going to be pure trial and error. Like, there's just no way to know if he was going to turn around now or if he was going to turn around when I was mid-walk until it happens. That's part of why I really dislike that these are single... Like that getting... Oh, yeah, I got too close, I guess. This is part of why I really don't like how these quests are structured, because some of it feels 100% trial and error, like the sort of thing that you can guess at, but you might just be wrong. It's like playing the old Dragon's Den arcade game. Boy, is that a reference that most people who are not my age will probably not get. And just to explain that, because I don't like that, the Dragon's Den was this really, really cool arcade game that was like a cartoon. But it wasn't actually playable. It was more like an interactive movie where every so often it would stop and you'd have a choice. You'd have 2 seconds to say, do I drink the potion? Do I not drink the potion? And if you drank the potion, like, it might be right or it might be wrong. And if it was wrong, you'd die. And if it was right, you'd see more of the story. And it was designed to eat your quarters and did really good at that because you'd have to learn the whole thing. But the problem was that it wasn't a very fun experience. And I hope this isn't that case. Okay, we're doing well again. Jump to the next thing. Also, I don't know why I wasn't on the mount before. Mount is definitely the way to go, as long as he can't see me above the mount. Or can't see me, like, above the rock. He sees pigeons, little tail feathers sticking out. Okay. Again, I don't want to move yet until I know, yeah, I made the right choice. And so the fact that I could make a right choice there, I guess, puts to rest some of my concerns about it being a wholly random, but, like, maybe he'll turn around right now. And there's just no way to know. What is there to hide behind now? Nothing. Okay, we made it. It's really the moments where they try to do, like, the kid doubling back and trying to trick you that feel bad in this situation, where you can't really predict it.
Thine arrival is timely as ever.
Talking to me? Yeah.
Thou didst chance to overhear my conversation with Living Way, I presume?
You presume correctly.
'Twas not mine intent to move in shadow. Nevertheless, I have been asked to do that and more yet again.
Why? Why are you doing this in shadow? Just talking to the collaborators doesn't seem like it has to be that super secret of a deal to keep from us.
Is it so plain that these strangers could intuit it at a glance? My capacity for silence and secrecy and duplicity?
It can't feel good for you.
And Grahatir did contrive to deliver the first at the price of his own life. I was complicit in the scheme. A sacrifice averted for a mercy. Would that I could say the same for Menphilia. One life for one world. And by that bloody bargain, brokered by my hand, were the scions robbed of a dear comrade, and Flamine her beloved daughter.
And, like, that I get, because that secrecy was necessary, and you did, like, that was a noble burden that you took on.
Two souls, whose selflessness was beyond measure, whose resolve was unshakable. They would not be moved even had I thought to protest. But protest I did not. Far from it. I pushed them forward. No effort did I make to seek out alternatives. Ones that would not demand such terrible costs.
I think you're being harder on yourself than you need to be right now. I really do.
That resignation weigheth heavy on my mind, as does the memory of another lost to mine inaction.
Who?
Dearest Moonbritter.
Oh, yeah.
Who did face death
Big Moony.
unflinching, that we might secure a means to bring low the Ascians.
And after this is all over, if the world survives and we move into the next chapter still on the Theris, wherever we are, we need to build a friggin' statue to Moonbritta. Like, she was the catalyst. I mean, being able to discover white auracite. I don't remember if she was the one who discovered white auracite, but, like, I think she was, who discovered it as the means to trap the Ascians. Like, without that, we would be long gone. Or the rejoinings would be continuing at least.
In her hour of need, I did naught. Dutiful disciple of Louisoix, ever looking to the greater good.
I'm glad you did not. You shouldn't have done anything. She made that sacrifice knowingly and willingly, and rightly.
Had I shut mine eyes and bid her live instead, mayhap she would be with us today.
Like, all this logic I'm putting out, it doesn't matter in this case. Totally understandable that you'd feel this way. I don't mean to negate that.
Everlasting regrets. Most days I put them from my mind, but could think of naught else when asked to swallow the same bitter draught. Subterfuge and sacrifice. Mayhap the right moral choice, but one I regard with great trepidation.
So I guess part of this is also that I'm assuming what they were asking him to do and and in my assumption saying, well, therefore, if what I'm assuming is right, it's silly that they'd ask you to keep a secret, but I should give him the benefit of the doubt. And give the Loporrits the benefit of the doubt here.
The calamity of Amarot was a tragedy beyond reckoning. One which must never again come to pass.
Yes. By the way, that monster there, that first beast, that is my current favorite monster design in Final Fantasy. Like, the scare, in terms of creepiness. That, oh, something about it. The eyes or the teeth. Not jagged, I mean, they're jagged, but...
We struggle. Haunted by ghosts of those we have lost. Clinging to those we pray we can yet save. But what of those we cannot? How do we make peace with the dreadful algebra of necessity?
Yeah, that's... Yeah, there's no way around that. There's... This comes back to what I was saying earlier in this session, that you'll have to... There's only going to be so many people you can save, and if you have to be the choice, be the ones who choose. I mean, God, how do you do that? Sometimes there is no right answer. Have faith in yourself and your decisions. Take heart and protect well those you can. Would that we had time to weigh the costs. I'm going to say sometimes there is no right answer. Because even, like, I think he could, there's no correct decision here.
In my discomfort, then?
No, you're not.
'Tis surprising, though perhaps not. We Scions are wont to debate strategy at length, but are resolute and unwavering in execution.
But we have to save Tataru.
Scarcely can I remember when last we spoke alone, and so candidly.
Like, that would, if we didn't save Tataru, that would be an incorrect decision. That's the only case where the wrong decision can be made.
I thank thee. For all my supposed skill with words, I find it difficult to express such private thoughts.
I like these one-on-one times with Scions we wouldn't ordinarily spend a lot of one-on-one time with. I really do.
As for the Loporrits proposition, I will take time and consider how to respond.
That's right, you haven't committed to anything just yet, right?
It would be to our mutual benefit if we could converse more openly with our aspiring caretakers. A concern I should be glad to address on the Scion's behalf. To dispense with all pretense and bare one's heart to another is a frightening thing indeed.
You are not wrong there.
But we cannot move forward ere we take that bold first step. A lesson I have learned many times before. And today.
What are they saying? Curse these ears! I've heard bugger all!
They each get their own sound effect when popping down.
We've got our plans.
Uh-oh. So, are they deceiving us? I don't know. Let me check out this fate, and then we'll wrap up shortly. Hunger strikes. It's supper time for the Daphnia in Mare Lamentorum, and they're making a beeline for Bestoy's burrow. Prevent a Loporrit lunch by slaying the beasts. Yeah, we're gonna... that's the best reason I've ever heard to kill a beast. It's about to eat a Loporrit, must die. Let me get a better look at you. Without casting on you. You are weird. You're like fairy bee sperms? I don't... You are strange creatures. Oh, and you like puff up when you shoot out water. Okay, let's wrap up. Talk to Urianger here. In truth, the reason for traveling hither... My reason for traveling hither was to effect a plan of mine own. A plan which may pave a way forward for us all. May, I say, for there is no guarantee of success. 'Tis the reason I set out alone. That failure, should it come, would be mine to bear alone. Haven't you learned enough about the power of friendship to learn that that's not necessarily a good thing? Yet thou standest before me with proffered hand and open heart. 'Twould be remiss of me to refuse thy amity. And so I ask, wouldst thou join in mine endeavor? 100%. What that endeavor is, we will see next time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.